Parents, let's play a game. I want you to raise your hand if you were the dumb kid in school. Do it. Be honest. Be honest. Don't click away. I know you want to end it. Half of us, myself included, half of us were the dumb kid in school. By fourth grade, 2/3 of kids are reading below grade level. 2/3 of kids feel like the dumb kid in school. Most kids are. Now let's play a second game, okay? So if you've got your hand up, which you should, okay, put that hand up. I want you to keep your hand up if you were read to as a kid. If your parents read to you, keep that hand up. Do you know why? Do you know why your hand's still up? Because being read to does not teach you how to read. Just because your parent read you this book does not mean that you know how to read this book. Sure, you might remember some of the words. Sure, you might be able to finish some of the lines, but that is different from reading. That's like hearing a song and knowing what it says. It's not reading. And if we think about any other aspect of life, we know this is true. So let's think about driving. And let's say that you want to teach your kid how to drive. Well, do you drive them a bunch of places? Drive them to Walmart, drive them to Kroger, drive them to the store, right? And just say, okay, they've got it down. I drove them. I've been driving them every day since birth. Every day I drive them all the time. They can't drive. Because you need to take that kid, you need to put them in the driver's seat, you need to coach them through. This is the steering wheel, this is the brake, this is the pedal, here's how it goes. We turn at these lights, we signal, we do all this stuff, right? They need to be taught how to drive. We know this for driving, we don't know this for reading. Let's take another example. Let's think about swimming, and this is my favorite analogy, okay? Because a lot of folks think you can teach your kid to read by just exposing them to books. Imagine if we said you can teach your kid to swim by exposing them to swimming. We're gonna play a bunch of swimming videos and then put our kid in the water. We know they're gonna drown. They're gonna drown because they haven't been taught. That's why we get swim teachers. That's why we take swim lessons. That's why we hold under their belly and we have their feet practice kicking. We have their arms practice stroking because we know the kid isn't just gonna start swimming on their own. They need to work up to it. There's specific steps they need to be taught, and reading is the exact same. Now, before you're like, Spence, are you saying we shouldn't read to our kids? Spence, are you saying there's no value? Of course you should. Of course you should. But this is like the bare minimum here. Reading to a kid is not something you get a trophy for. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Like, this is something that you should be doing. Kids need to develop strong oral language. Kids need to develop a sense of the world around them outside of the four walls of their home. Kids need to build a strong, trusting, caring relationship with their parent or with their caregiver. And reading to your child does all of those things. It helps build their oral language. It helps build their receptive language. It helps strengthen your relationship. It helps teach them about the world outside of your home. But what reading to your child does not do is it does not teach them how to read. And anybody, and there are people who say this, there's people who say this to me, anybody who tells you otherwise is lying. Kids do not just magically learn how to read by themselves. Kids don't just get read to a bunch and, all of a sudden they're saying it to you. They've memorized the story. They have no idea what they're reading. They've memorized it. So what should you do if you actually want to teach your kid how to read? You should teach your kid how to read. Yes, continue to read to them, continue to tell stories, continue to build their knowledge and understanding of the world, but actually teach them how to read. Start with the letter sounds. They're going to need to know these things, okay? They can see it in the book, but they're not going to know it until you put it out in front of them and tell them, this says okay? Teach them directly. This is This says This says t. And once they know those, start blending them together. Mat. That stage is going to take a lot longer than you think, so start it early. Sounds plus blending means when we put this book in front of them, they can start to put things together like give, right? Give, ing, giving. We can give them the actual tools to decode that language on their own, but they don't get that from just hearing you read. They get that from you teaching them to read. Now, whether or not you teach them, that's on you. I'm just letting you know, if you want to, this is how you do it. If you trust school, if you know, if I send them to school, they're gonna learn how to read, fine, do it. Like I said, 2/3 of us have our hand up. If you have a tutor you can pay, if you have someone else in their life who can help them and you don't need to do it, don't do it, right? Do you. But if you can't trust, if you don't trust they're gonna get this in school, If you don't have a tutor that you can pay or that you can afford or someone else in life who can help them, if you know that you as the parent or caregiver have the ability to help your kid learn how to read and you want to spend that time, you know it might be tough and it might be challenging, but it's going to be worth it so that they can put their hand down when they're asked that question, then here's how you do it. You teach them the sounds, you help them blend those sounds together, you do a little bit a day, and eventually you're going to see your child learning how to read. I've got a free training that covers all of this. It is amazing, super helpful, super quick, straight to the point. I'll be there live on the chat if you want to take it. I've also got a bunch of videos on this page to help you get started. Not only like here's how you teach the sounds, literally here's how you pronounce the sounds so you know how to teach them, okay? So check out my channel, a bunch of other videos here to support you. If you've got questions, drop them in the comments. Feel free to let me know. I'll be happy to answer. Until next time, I'll talk to you soon.